So let's start either in a comfortable seat, maybe you're on a prop, unless you want to begin laying down. Spider's not under the pillow, I just looked. But cross-legged maybe, allowing the legs to soften maybe. Or again, you're laying down on the back or belly. So just choosing the most intuitive place. And then when you can find some stillness, let's close the eyes. Taking in a few moments to arrive. Allowing ourselves to enter our internal space. And that goal, intention that we may feel is somewhat uncontrollable in the external world. Let's try to guide it towards us internally. And can that goal and intention help be one of our guides for our practice? Maybe we can just learn from that goal or intention and let it mentor us throughout our experience in Yin. Can it help you begin arriving into your breath? Can it help you start to soften and relax into your physical body? Maybe it can help shift your awareness as you focus on the gaze and the backs of the eyelids. And if we feel like our goal in our external world is intangible, invisible, out of reach, maybe we can breathe some life back into it towards our internal world. Honoring it here, letting it flourish throughout our body. And even though our eyes are still closed, maybe our space within our room feels softer and feels lighter. The room or the space or the props that we're sitting on aren't just normal or regular. They're holding us within this bubble, within this space, helping us experience our goal and intention. We may be analyzing it and reflecting upon it from the mind's perspective. We may be feeling it, finding emotions within it from the heart's perspective. So from here, let's together find a few cleansing breaths. Let's inhale through the nose. And then open the lips to exhale. Again, like that, deep breath in through the nose. Open the lips to exhale. One more time, deep breath in. And a deep breath out. As you come back to your natural breath, notice some warmth within the body. Maybe in the belly, the chest, or the nose. You're welcome to keep your hands relaxed in your lap. Maybe bring them into a prayer shape at heart center. And you're welcome to listen or join me within the sound of Om. we take a deep breath in. Very gently bow your chin towards your chest. Take a moment to allow the vibrations to settle within the heart space, allowing them to reverberate off of the walls of the inner body, and allow them to seal your intentions for practice. So whenever you're ready, you can slowly open the eyes. You can bring the hands away. We'll come out of our seated positions, or if you're lying back down, you'll come up to sit just for a moment. As we gather some props around us, we're going to start in our dove stretch today. So at least I like to call it dove, but you may know some other names for it. We're going to lay back down, and maybe you have a pillow underneath the head. Our knees will be bent and our feet flat to the floor. You're going to open your left knee out to the side. And by opening it out, the foot may stay exactly where it is. Maybe you even prop your knee or thigh. Or you can take that left foot and walk it underneath the space of the right thigh. So as it walks underneath you, the knee can go diagonal, or maybe the knee walks all the way to the front of the room or to the front of the mat as your foot continues to reach towards your glute. At any point in time, you may want to prop your tailbone or one of your hips, one of your thighs, one of your knees. That could help gradually guide you into deeper sensation by using the prop at first. Sometimes it just feels more comfortable rather than your ankle digging into the floor. Just let yourself find a blanket or a pillow. And of course, if you have any questions, allow yourself to ask. There's no right or wrong. Once the left foot finds a place, whether it stays where it is or walks underneath your right leg, you can choose to let the arms and hands relax near you, away from you, or maybe up above the head. Taking a moment to arrive. Noticing what sensations make themselves present to you. And a great way to experience the stillness is by riding your edge. Riding the edge means we're someplace between comfort and discomfort. So full comfort is like restorative. In yin, we still use props, but we want to feel a fascia release. We want to feel a stretch or sensation. And just like foam rolling, massage, acupuncture, at times there's discomfort, but we never want to pass that point to experience pain. We'll always choose to release. So just allow yourself to ride your edge. Breathing into the sensations, breathing into the place between comfort and discomfort. Watching how your body and mind adapt. Maybe you can start softening, relaxing through the muscles and bones. Releasing through the joints and organs. From here, you can stay in dove a little longer. Or if you're ready to release, let's do so slowly. Taking your time as you unravel the feet and unravel the knees. Maybe the legs go long against the floor. It may feel good to have the arms reach up above the head and take a full body stretch. Sometimes it feels good to bend into the knees again, wrapping around the shins or the backs of the thighs, and rocking on the spine from side to side. And once you feel that you've taken enough movements to release from that stretch, allow yourself to again find stillness, closing the eyes, and taking that moment to pause. Allowing the body to live and breathe and move without any external limitations. Not questioning if it's right, if it's wrong. Am I good? Am I bad? Letting that inner guidance or that natural feeling, let that move you here. And as we observe that feeling of lightness, as we observe that subtle sensation, this helps us pause within rebound. So if your meditative pause wants you to stay here a little longer, you're more than welcome to stay. Whenever you're ready, again, you'll bend into the knees, feet flat to the floor. And then this time your right knee is going to open out to the side. And then the right foot will stay exactly where it is, or it's going to walk underneath the space of the left thigh. Maybe taking a blanket to prop the glute, to prop the right thigh or the right knee. And then again, have the hands and the arms relax. So you close our eyes and arrive in stillness. We'll think about that term of riding the edge. But let's try softening a little more this time. Let's allow ourselves to let go of whatever we're carrying. Let go of unnecessary control. Letting go of unnecessary tension. And can we find this softness or openness through the scalp, through the ears and the eyes, the jaw? Can that softness exist throughout your chin and your throat and your shoulders? Can that softness be possible through the chest, through the diaphragm and the belly? Can it be experienced through the muscles of the glutes, your thighs, your knees, even down to the shins and feet? And maybe you take your intention, take your goal with you as you soften. Sometimes sensations of stretch are surprises. They can be somewhat unexpected. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. The other day when I was in this exact stretch in my own practice, I was having, in the middle of the stretch, and it was probably like 3 minutes in, and I started feeling cramps in my diaphragm, like after you run a mile and your body wants you to start walking. It was just very unexpected. But throughout my yin practice, I choose to communicate to those senses. I kind of want to explore what that sensation was trying to teach me. So I stayed and I breathed. And as I did that, it started traveling from my diaphragm around the side body and into my spine. And I got a great release. So if you feel different, unusual sensations and they help you ride your edge, you can stay. If they surpass the edge, you can start to come out. So from here, you can begin to decide for yourself, would you like to stay in dove a little longer? Or would you like to begin to release slowly? Maybe the mind needs a second to process that, and then the body can start to unravel. Whether the knees stay bent and windshield wiper them from side to side. Maybe it feels good to reach the legs towards the ceiling, roll into the ankles. Maybe let the knees feel buoyant as the legs dangle in the air. And really, you can take any amount of movements, anything for the legs, anything for the torso, for the arms. And then when you're ready, you'll find that time to pause. Coming into a rebound pose, whether it looks like you lying down on your belly, on your side body. And as we settle here, you'll take a moment to observe and reflect. Sometimes within the silence, our goals and intentions speak to us the loudest. So feel free to check in with them here. If you'd like to stay in rebound a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. Or whenever you're ready, we'll bring ourselves back to a seated shape. Of course, taking any movements along the way. And our next shape here, our next pose, I'm going to show you both a floor option and a wall option. Now, if you have a wall nearby that you could use, great. Maybe you have a couch or a chair or a bed to use instead, but no stress, because if you don't, that's why you can come to the floor option. So let me show you both. If you are going to use a surface like a wall, you may want to take a blanket, place it there first to support your tailbone. I'm going to sit my hip as close as I can get, so I'm very, very close to the wall. And then I walk myself down and send my legs to the wall. Okay, from there, my left knee will bend in and my ankle is going to come to the right thigh. Feel free to stay like that, or bend into the right knee and bring your foot somewhere along the wall to change the sensation of the stretch. Okay, so that's option one, is to take figure 4 against the wall. Option 2, you'll take sleeping swan, which may mean you'll have some pillows and blankets underneath your chest and belly. Left knee comes in towards the chest and your right leg will come back long. Now, lots of times you can start with your shin and your foot right underneath you and allow yourself to relax. Or like a pigeon shape, you can bring your shin forward, propping the left glute or thigh, and still allowing yourself to relax down. Okay, so feel free to choose whatever shape you would like. I will say one more thing. If you are taking sleeping swan with the left knee up and the right leg back long, sometimes you need to support that right thigh instead. So that right thigh may need a blanket or a pillow. I even cover my left heel and left ankle to help myself feel supported as I'm in stretch. Maybe that's helpful to you, maybe not. But just so you know, it's an option. So take your time. Either way, sleeping swan, left knee in the chest, figure 4, left knee in the chest, ankle comes across the thigh. Whatever variation you're taking, have some space within the palms, some space within the fingers. As we relax through the arms, shoulders. We want to greet our body with this openness. We want to greet our goal or intention that lives within our subtle awareness. We want to greet that with the same openness and softness. Rather than feeling like we need to reprimand ourselves if the goal or intention was not successful, let's instead offer compassion or empathy or just understanding. Sometimes our goals and intentions have so much frustration because we have an expectation of how they're supposed to play out. And lots of times our goals and intentions play out in a completely different way. Teach us something we would have no idea we were supposed to learn. Show us something about ourselves we didn't even know existed. So let's soften and open ourselves to learning from that goal, learning from that intention. If you'd like to stay in figure 4 a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. If you'd like to stay in sleeping swan, you're more than welcome to do so. But within your own time, we'll intuitively and gradually begin to unravel. Maybe moving through the arms first or moving through the legs first. Now, if you were at the wall and you straighten the legs at the wall, you can always bend into your knees, guide your feet into that wall, and then push as you lift the hips up to come into a supported shoulder stand. Of course, not for long, but just to find some extension through the spine, and then you can lower the hips back down. If you took sleeping swan, maybe you're sitting and windshield wipering the knees from side to side. And whether you stay on your back, find your belly, or come up to sit, we'll all find a place to rebound. Noticing subtle sensations. Noticing a difference within your breath. Maybe even your overall mood or temperament can be described differently here. If you'd like to stay within your rebound, you're more than welcome to stay where you are. Or whenever you're ready, we'll come into figure 4 on the opposite side. If you took sleeping swan, then you'll come into sleeping swan on the opposite side. But either way, right knee bending, or for whatever reason, if you started with the right, now just do the left. Taking any props with you. Ryan, I'm gonna unmute you for a second because I'm gonna ask you something, so I want to hear your answer. I can't. Oh, there we go. Oh no, I can't. Oh, you're close. Okay, cool. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you prop your right hip bone a little bit with a blanket or a pillow?
Yeah, I have a blanket underneath. If I need to do more.
Can you maybe just fold half of it in a little bit to give you more of a cushion, or is it thick?
It was not thick.
Okay, cool. So if you could like roll it somewhat. There you go. And then if you do try that and you don't like it, just change it to where it was. Okay, cool. I'll put you back on mute. Thanks. So if you haven't softened into your pose yet, begin to do so. Maybe you've already softened and you can take the time to soften again. As we simultaneously work through the physical body by stretching through the fascia. We work through the energetic body as we practice softening into a layer and then into another layer and into another layer. We work through the mental and emotional body because throughout our time here, we do experience thoughts and feelings, ideas, questions, memories. Sometimes we can even foresee something. And something can become so powerful as long as we add intention to it. So let's keep feeding intention to that goal. Or goals, right? Depending on what you're thinking about. Let's allow it to become so real within the internal body and in the internal environment that it shows up willingly in the external world. So if you'd like to stay here in your figure 4 or sleeping swan shape a little longer, you have the option to do so. Or within your own time, we'll let ourselves gradually release and unravel. No rush throughout that process. Maybe you can move and unravel with your eyes closed. If not, just keep the gaze soft. Not looking at anything specific. And just moving the body in any which way, facing any direction within your room. And then you'll choose to find that pause. You'll find that place to soften and to find rebound. Rebounds give us another experience of the sensations we felt during the stretch. Just like we create muscle memory from certain physical practices, we allow our nervous system here to absorb that memory. So just take a moment to pause and to feel. And of course, you can stay here a little longer if you'd like. Or whenever you're ready, you'll maybe bring your knees into the chest, roll to one side of the body, and come back to a seated shape. If you're at the wall, we're gonna move into a pose on our bellies. So feel free to just find that shape for yourself. But as I make my way to my belly, I may need a pillow or a blanket or something to support my head. If you have glasses, it's probably best to take the glasses off here. And we're gonna come into open wing. So the left arm is gonna come out to a T shape, right? Make sure you're on your belly first and then bring the arm down rather than doing one of these, okay? So make sure you're here, then the arm is out to T. Once the arm comes out to T, the palm can face the floor or it can face up. So just do what's best for your elbow and your shoulder. And then you're gonna roll into your body. Okay, so I'll do that just so that you can see me from this side. Maybe my knees come into the chest here. Maybe my legs, one on top of another here. Or maybe I draw that right leg behind me, if that feels good. Or maybe I stay more towards my belly and I just have my arm come out to T, right? Especially if you're working through maybe an old injury or you're like doing physical therapy or something. This may just feel good right here. Okay, so feel free to take any of those variations. Whether you choose to take a pillow or blanket underneath the head. If you're feeling a lot in your spine or your low back, maybe take a blanket or pillow between your inner knees or thighs. And whether you keep your right arm in front of your chest, you can do so and relax that arm to the ground. Or maybe you lift it up and take a half bind around the low back. Allowing yourself to arrive when you're ready. Even noticing your presence of breath, whether you breathe deeply, quietly, or somewhere in between. Maybe checking in with your gaze behind the eyes here. Whether your eyes stare at something specific, or maybe they stare far out into the distance, as if they were daydreaming. As we remember our goal, intention, it may share its wisdom with you here as we spend time in silence. It may speak to you the loudest within your quietest moments. Let's keep the left arm where it is. But if your right arm is bounded back behind you, can we slowly guide that arm back in front of the chest? From there, if the legs are separated, we'll guide one leg back on top of the other. And then we'll gently roll onto the chest. Take your time as you roll out of the shoulder. And then as we come to our bellies, feel free to let the arms extend to the top of your mat. Maybe they walk themselves underneath your face or your chest. If it feels good, you can kick the feet up and windshield wiper the knees from side to side, moving through the hips. If your spine wants a little movement here, your palms can come near the chest. You can lift your chest maybe into low cobra. Maybe you pull forward and find an up dog shape. Maybe you allow the knees to lower and you send your hips into a child's pose. Maybe you're doing cat-cow, maybe you're doing down dog, maybe it's something different. But because the fascia is interconnected, all parts are being engaged in every stretch. So when we release, it intuitively makes sense that the spine may want extension, that the arms may want some movement, that the hips or ankles may feel the need for some movement. And then here you're within your pause, finding that moment of reflection. Maybe even that moment of understanding. And then from here, within your own time, let's allow ourselves to come back to the belly and take open wing on the right side or the left if you started on the right. Okay, so for me, it would be my right arms coming out to T and then I'm rolling into that right shoulder. The left palm will stay in front of your chest. Maybe relax that left forearm to the mat. Or you can bring that left arm up and around the low back and take a half bind. For that right arm that's in that T shape, the palm can face the ground or it can turn up towards the ceiling. Doing what's best for the arm. I always laugh in this stretch because one of my students from New Jersey who's retired, I can't remember if she's in her early 70s or late 70s, but we were talking about the rotator cuff in a particular class. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe you'll feel something in that rotator cuff in the stretch of open wing. And she goes with her like hard New Jersey accent, I don't got one of those. And everybody started laughing. It was great. And that I always think of her here. but there's so much to the shoulder that's actually not connected to our bodies through bone. It's connected to our bodies through the interconnected web of fascia. Maybe you've heard of the term basal lamina. That's even the description of some of the fluid within fascia, especially around the shoulder. So as we allow ourselves to reclaim this space, we improve the mobility of all parts of our bodies. From the external things that we can see to the internal things that we can feel and function. Remembering that nerves live within our fascia. We have nerves traveling down the neck through the shoulder, down our chest, that help us breathe, that help the function of our diaphragm. So if we have tension in the neck, tension in the shoulders, tension in the chest, we may not fully be breathing to our optimal capacity because of that unnecessary stuff we carry. So allow yourself to be open as you improve your body here in so many different ways. A plethora of possibility here. Let's begin to make our way out of open wing. If your left arm is back behind you, let's guide that in front of your chest. If your legs are apart, guide one leg to the other leg. And then you'll very gently roll out of the shoulder and onto the belly. Maybe you stay still and you come right to rebound. It may feel good to kick the feet up, windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Again, there may be a desire to lift the chest, open and press through the collarbones, extend the spine. Maybe the hips draw back to child's pose, or you find yourself in another shape. It could be the same one as the previous side or a completely different one. Feel the openness within the breath. Your awareness humming and buzzing throughout the body. Not just feeling the breath within your chest, but noticing your entire body breathing. So before we make our way to Shavasana, allow yourself to come up to sit carefully and mindfully, taking any movements along the way. I want us to talk about one more thing that will then guide us into Shavasana. I'm gonna show it with a cork block. So if you have that, you can bring your cork block with you. If you have a softer block, you can use that instead. And if you don't have a block at all, I'm gonna show you what to do here. So basically, we're gonna allow us to prepare ourselves for Shavasana from the lower body. So if we want a blanket underneath the knees, you'll roll the blanket underneath the knees. If you want a blanket on your body or on your hips, get that set up. And then if you have that cork block, you're gonna bring it with you as you lay down. And you may have to play around with having it on this level or completely flat. So you gotta do what's best for your neck, and you won't know until you try it. But you're gonna pick your hair up and you're gonna allow the base of your skull and the top of your neck to rest on the edge of the block. So if you press your thumbs into those edges of the skull, you'll feel the occipital lobes there. And that's kind of where you want your head to rest, right? At that point, you're gonna start to look left, and your eyes are closed. You're gonna look right. You're gonna lift your chin and tuck your chin, and you're going to find areas within the back of your head here that feel sensitive, that feel like a bruise. These are areas of tight fascia within our head. Now, if the second level is too high, allow the block to come down. If you need to put a blanket over your block, you can do that as well. Okay? Now, if you don't have a block, you're gonna do the same thing, but just with your hands. So as your head comes down, you're gonna take your thumbs, you're gonna allow the rest of your fingers maybe to wrap in your hair. And you're gonna allow your thumbs to walk along the edge of the skull, the back of your head. And as you press into certain points of the occipital lobes or the skull, or maybe points by the ears, you're gonna feel those same things. And then maybe you roll your thumbs a little bit into those areas. Whether you use your block or your hands, it's still this self-massage technique, it's just different. And whatever you're choosing to do, we still want to soften. Let's close the eyes. You can continue to move the head from side to side, but when you find a sweet spot, maybe you just let yourself hang out there in stillness. Breathe into that discomfort. If you're moving your thumbs and fingers along the back of your head or skull, maybe you just press in there. Count to 3 until you find a new pressure point. Remember, be open as you may experience sensations of heat, coolness, pulsing, sometimes in the feet, or the thighs, or the shoulders. Allow your breath to stay present here. Notice your focus, notice your awareness. And if you'd like to stay doing this during Shavasana, you're more than welcome to. Or if you're going to let the head relax to the floor, just mindfully remove the block from beneath the head. Let the head settle back down slowly. If you are doing the self-massage with your hands, you can allow your arms and hands to relax again near the body. Readjusting anything you might need for Shavasana. And then again, as we find stillness, let's welcome ourselves to the breath. And again, listening to our goals and intentions here within our quietest and softest moments. Let's begin to gently deepen the breath. Begin to guide yourself back into the space of your body, guiding yourself back into the space of your room, and coming back into the space of the room that we all energetically share. When it feels good to you, you can welcome some movements, whether you awaken the hands first or the feet first. You can then awaken through the arms and the legs by stretching, reaching, maybe even letting the arms cross at the chest to give the upper body a hug. If it feels good to bend into the knees and wrap around the shins or thighs, you can do so. And then within your own time, you can intuitively roll to the left or intuitively roll to the right. And as we awaken ourselves, you're welcome to stay here or push down and guide yourself back to a seated shape. Whether you choose to sit on a prop, cross-legged, or legs relaxed straight out. But when you're ready, you'll close the eyes and come back to stillness. Allowing yourself to reflect on your practice, feeling your goals and intentions present within the belly, within the chest, within the mind. As you notice the natural lift of the spine, notice freedoms within the breath. Notice space or clarity within the mind. And whether you keep your hands relaxed within your lap, or maybe you bring them into a prayer shape at heart center, joining me as we close our class with the sound of Om, as we take a deep breath in. Gently bowing your chin towards your chest. Thank you for practicing with me this evening, being elevated through yoga. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.